manufacturer is Smith & Wesson. They reported first quarter revenue of $102 million, which is 30% higher than last year. Joining us now is the president and CEO of Smith & Wesson, Michael Golden. We very much appreciate your taking the time, Mr. Golden. Everyone has been watching gun-related names surge. You know this has been a big point of discussion in political circles as well. I guess the bottom line is people are buying more guns since this election, right?
Well, certainly the demand for firearms has changed, significantly changed with the election. But I think an important point is if you look at Smith & Wesson's business, look at our retail business. For the 6 months prior to the election, our retail business for handguns was up 14%. We believe that's driven by people looking for personal protection. We think we make the finest products in the world, but as unemployment rises and the economy gets tough, the consumers are buying firearms for personal protection.
I don't know how much you track sort of people's reason for buying guns, but do you have any sense of what the breakdown is? How many people are buying guns because they were really worried about social unrest during the economic crisis versus how many people were worried that this president may change gun control laws and make it harder to buy a gun?
Well, certainly since the election, people were worried about in the beginning of changing gun regulations, but the administration says that they're not going to challenge the Second Amendment. We do have some numbers that we send questionnaires out to people to buy our products. An interesting number, I think, is if you look at our revolver purchases in the first 6 months of last year, and one question we asked is this your first firearms purchase? 9% of the people that responded said it was their first purchase. This year, 27% of the people said it was their first purchase. And that's a concern of personal protection. We can also tell by the mix of product that people are ordering from us. Small frame revolvers are the only reason to have one of them is for personal protection.
Right. Now, of course, some people might say another reason to have them is because you want to do harm to someone else. I mean, what is the breakdown between people buying guns for hunting and people buying guns for what maybe they never use them for personal protection, but obviously they could end up using them in some way for crime?
Well, we don't know the answer to that. The FBI does a background check on everyone every time they purchase a firearm in the United States. So there are some pretty good controls that are in there. But the hunting business and the handgun business are about the same size. The other piece that's important, Aaron, is if you look at our business, look at the quarter we just ended. We were up 30%, which was a good quarter. But there were a number of other factors in there. We had a small bit of revenue from Universal Safety Response, the perimeter security company we just purchased. Our law enforcement purchases or sales were up 32%. Our international sales were up 12%. So it's fairly well spread.
What's the gun, I'm using that word broadly, so pardon my ignorance for your certain terms when you talk about a shotgun or a revolver, what sells the most to retail?
Well, actually, the long gun market is a little larger than the handgun market. Long guns are hunting rifles, bolt-action rifles, tactical rifles, shotguns, things like that.
And are there any particular models that stand out to you in terms of a shift in what people are actually demanding?
Not in long guns for hunting purposes. Tactical rifles have been a hot category from their election on, although our tactical rifle business at retail grew in the same 6 months I spoke about earlier by 103%. There certainly is a desire for some of these products out in the marketplace, and we're proud that we've been doing it for 157 years, and we believe we have the finest products in the world.
When you mentioned that 27% this year of purchases were first-time buyers as opposed to historically when it had been somewhere around 9%, obviously that means a lot of people are buying guns that haven't before. You said maybe that's need for personal protection, fear of the economy, but it gets to a point of that there is perhaps some uncertainty of what that's used for. Do you, as the CEO of Smith & Wesson, largest gun manufacturer in America, support enhanced gun control to make sure that all of the people buying guns are buying them for the right reasons?
I truly believe that, one, the Second Amendment is a freedom that we have in the United States that's built in the fabric of the country. I believe there are plenty of firearms regulations. They should be enforced. I believe, for the most part, they are being enforced. There's a background check every time someone buys a purchase. I don't believe we need any more rules on firearms.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Golden. We appreciate your taking the time. to be with us here on Street Signs. As you said, Mike Golden, CEO of Smith & Wesson, largest gun manufacturer in America. Up next on the show, the president coming to Wall Street on Monday, and we will be there. We're going to find out what our traders are hoping to hear from him when he